After a lot of grinding, upgrading, and searching to see what items would fit best in a build, I began my apocalypse run. But before that, to prepare for my apocalypse run, I played the game through nightmare difficulty, which proved to be much easier than I expected with a couple minor casualties. I grabbed a couple items I thought I might need and also some items that are rare spawns that I luckily got in my world, like the Tranquil Heart, the Meridian Grenade Launcher, the Ring of Flawed Beauty, and other items I needed like the Alumni Ring, and the Hellfire Flamethrower for the fire build. As an added bonus, I got the Fey Armor set and the Game Master's Pride Ring. After I collected all of the items I needed, I began to upgrade archetypes that some comments were telling me to upgrade, like the Handler archetype. I eventually ended up maxing out Handler, Archon, Hunter, and Alchemist, so I could use them if I needed to, and to get my overall archetype level up. After the boring hours of grinding archetype levels, I started my world on Apocalypse. I was hoping I would start on either Narud or Lossum, but I ended up starting on Yaesha in the Red Throne. I have never been that big of a fan of Forest Worlds, but I went through it surprisingly easy. I was much more set up this time compared to when I was getting depressed fighting Venom with Geo, but I didn't expect it to be as easy as it was. I still had my deaths here and there, and I did get annoyed on some parts, but for the most part, it was a breeze. I spawned in the Red Throne and immediately ran through so I could talk to the Eternal Empress's biggest meat rider. After going through the cutscene and being forcefully told to do a task, and then ran to the next area since I have already picked up all the items in this area. I decided to just run through so I could get to the first boss fight. So then after killing a few enemies and running for about 2 minutes, I made it to the first boss. Before I continue this video, I'd appreciate if you guys could like and subscribe and comment below. It would mean a lot to me. And now, on to the rest of the video. I knew the Root Nexus would cause me some trouble because of all the enemies it spawned, but I thought it would go much easier than it did. With my new fire build, I spammed as many fire tornadoes as I could onto the Nexus, but I ended up dying too quickly because of those damn meatballs. Oh my, it only takes 2 for me to die. Instead, I decided to start shooting a fire tornado near me so they would die before they could get to me. The plan worked pretty well until the Slayers, or the Archers, began to teleport behind me and kill me. What? Oh my god, those fools can teleport behind me. Oh my gosh. So I had to think, how am I going to deal with these Slayers? I decided to shoot a fire tornado at them too. It was pretty successful until I made a realization. The Root Nexus wouldn't get a 2x burn with my tornado and my Hellfire no matter what I tried. My damage wasn't at its full potential, so I decided to switch to a weak spot build because of the huge weak spot the Root Nexus had. It was very effective, but the main issue now were all the enemies that would spawn. The main issues were the meatballs that would sometimes jump scare me, and the Root Horror that would command grab me from a mile away and hold me long enough to the point where all the meatballs would gang up on me. Are you kidding me? Oh my god! I decided that getting killed by those two was a skill issue and decided to dodge better, and after a couple attempts I was able to beat it. Damn, and it's a slam. Holy shit, my life flashed from my eyes. Nice. I continued forward a little annoyed because I wanted to use my fire build, but the weak spot build was more effective. I continued with the weak spot build and it was very good at dealing with enemies. The only tragedy is that I had no idea where I was going, so I ran until I found a doorway. Eventually, after some running, I eventually found the Flautist. I quickly skipped this dialogue and went through the doorway. Inside, I was greeted with the boss arena without the boss, and eventually I began to run into Root Snipers, which were very easy to deal with except for one time. Are you kidding me, bruh? Oh my god. I encountered many Root Grenadiers. With the build I had, they were very easy to handle. I ran through the area opening a shortcut and dying a couple times, but I eventually made it to the ring that takes you into the boss fight. Oh, time for another boss fight, baby. I entered the Kaiula shadow boss fight and quickly realized that it doesn't have a crit. While making this video, I searched up if it had a weak spot, and I realized it does have one, and it's on its chest, even though in the video I shot its chest and I didn't get any red numbers, if I remember correctly. I'll probably remember once I edit this. I then immediately thought that it was prime time to use my fire build. I ran to the boss fight, entered the boss, and shot everything I had at it that included fire. I was doing an okay amount of damage, but I was wondering why there was no burn status effect on the boss. I used my Hellfire and my Fire Tornado and still nothing. I thought for a bit and then came to the realization that the entire arena has water. So of course the water boss fight wouldn't be able to get burned, especially when they submerge in water. I just know I'm trying to use fire in a water area. Am I a dumbass? Oh my god. I quickly died and then began to switch into a crit build with my friend's favorite ring, the Burden of the Gambler ring. I went into the boss fight with the build and his health went down so fast he summoned his tentacles only after a few seconds. Little did I know that after a lot of my deaths were either because of ammo or getting jump scared by the boss's tentacle phase. Are you kidding me? Get me out of this water! Oh my god! Once getting past my skill issue and finally neutral dodging, I was able to kill the boss and move on. I thought I just threw? Oh my god, I thought I almost killed myself? I then moved on to the far woods, which in my run was the longest run in Yaesha. Running through this area took a while, not to mention the billion enemies that wanted hands. I tried to run through, but I was constantly stopped because of the root tumblers, or meatballs as I have been calling them. As an added bonus, I had a lot of the root moths that would swarm me and more root horrors that would love to grab me just to get me even more mad. While I was trying to make the run for it initially, I mainly had a lot of trouble because of the meatballs that sometimes would either try to be sneaky. I see that fool pulling up from... Look how sneaky his ass is! He thinks he's him! Or outright gang up on me, and with my crit build on, I wasn't able to do anything but take it. Eventually, I was able to make it past an area, but I was so wary of the meatballs that I would ignore almost every enemy. While I was so tunnel visioned, I was ran over by not something made by the root, but by two damn deer. After the shock I received from getting killed by the deer, I made it past a lot of enemies and near a doorway, which I ran to with open arms and died in front of. He's not to run all the way back, bro. Oh, you mother... Both of you guys suck. Why are so many of you guys? Why is it so... I was initially really mad, but then I checked the map and then realized it was an optional area that I had no interest in going into. I respawned and then ran the other way, where I again encountered hella meatballs, but I managed to kill them and run past to make it to the next area, the Widow's Court. In the Widow's Court, I didn't have to kill that many enemies besides some root flyers. He just gave his friend backshots. That's crazy. That's me to my friends for real. Root slashers or another gambler build. Love to see it. Yo, he was hitting that shit. Look at that shit. Oh. Ah, he was. As soon as I said it, he got shy. And the few empowered slayers. This was my first time. Look at this fool out of here, bro. Besides that, the Widow's Court was a breeze since I already knew where to go. I eventually ran over and got to the area right before the boss and decided to keep my crit build for the first try to see how effective it would be. I went in and immediately saw that the Corruptor's Golem took almost no crit unless his face was open. I died immediately after and switched to my weak spot build. I beat the boss fairly quickly because of his low health, but the main issue that caused me to die a couple of times was mainly the Golem, because I would either miss the timing on his jump or he would just outright kill me with his swings. It's a one shot, not to mention he kneed my face. I couldn't even go through his legs. Once I was able to kill the Golem, I was able to finally kill the Corruptor and then make it to the next world. Easy boss fight. Watch me die right now. What's up, that? You want to reload, bro? I'm trying to risk anything respectfully, bro.